Hi everyone, it's Ingrid from Body Conquest, and I'm here today just to talk briefly about a topic that ties in quite nicely with emotional eating, and it stemmed from a little incident that we had with one of our clients earlier on in the week, and that just led to an interesting discussion. And I thought, maybe some of the viewers of the FIO, for example, would really enjoy me talking about this, and that is that you know what you believe, you are what you believe, hence that saying, or what the mind can conceive, the body can achieve. You are what you eat, and you are the exercise that you get. But I'd like to also take it a step further and say that you are the company that you keep. And what I'd kind of like you to do maybe after watching this video is perhaps have a little think and a run through your own social inventory and ask yourself, how do those people that you spend most of your time with actually stack up? Because I tell you one thing, we have an automatic tendency to conform to the words, the behaviours and the habits of the people that we spend inordinate amounts of time with. And that doesn't have to be your significant other. That can be your best friend, your family, it can be your work colleagues. And goodness knows we've probably all got some work colleagues where, their habits and behaviours don't represent your values, and so insidiously some of these habits creep over and really affect us and our food choices. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk about today, social inventory and asking how yours stacks up. And also within that context to highlight to you that when we start a program or we start a transformation or we're doing comp prep and we're kind of in the zone and we're really happy with our lot and what we're doing, it's really confronting and confusing when that's questioned. We do enough of trying not to question it ourselves. Is it going to work? Am I going to get lean? Should I be training like this? Or really, should I be training another way? And that's where that information overload starts to, get confusing and quite overwhelming. And as I say, if you start to question your program and your nutrition ethos when you haven't given it enough time, and that could be, look, I don't know, it could be as little as 2 weeks and you notice a sensitivity, but most programs take a period of time to stay on. And it's actually not okay for other people to come into your world and press upon them that perhaps what you're doing is not best for you. Not when you haven't solicited their advice. And this was one of the things that happened with one of our clients earlier this week. So I've got a little parable that I'll share with you that I share a lot with my my coaching clients, particularly in our End Emotional Eating course. And that is, there's a little parable about a owl, a little bird and a crow. And the little bird's sitting on a tree, and he's crying hysterically, and over his left eye, where there used to be an eye, is this battered old wing. And the crow flies down, sits next to him and says, "What's wrong, little bird?" And then he says, "I know what the matter is. You're really upset because you let the mean old crow peck your eye out." And the little bird says really bitterly, No, Mr. Owl, that's not why I'm upset. I'm upset because I let the crow peck my eye out. So what I'm saying there is, it's actually okay for you to put up some boundaries if you're starting to begin to feel that you're, not wanting to hear what someone says about your training program and your nutrition, and it's starting to upset you and make you question. It's all right for you to say to that person, you know what, you're actually overstepping some boundaries here, and I'm really happy and comfortable doing what I'm doing, and I didn't solicit your advice, so could you keep your opinion until when I've finished it, and then perhaps we can revisit this discussion. And just nip it in the bud, because interactions like that can often lead us to those anxiety and stress. And what happens is you then go home, and that minute that you're alone, that leads you to making inappropriate food choices. And so the cycle of self-sabotaging begins. Exactly what it was that you didn't want to do. Now, I want to finish up by saying that I always say that there's two types of people in the world when it comes to who we want around us. We've got the turkeys and the crows, and we've got the eagles and the owls. And unfortunately, we can't escape all the turkeys and crows. We're going to have some in our life. Within the turkeys and crows, there's a few different types of people, if you like. And I won't go through them all today. Certainly, again, in my End Emotional Eating course, this is one of the things that we go through. But I will bring up two types of people, and that is the critic and the sabotager. Now, I particularly don't like the critic or the sabotager, because the critic will do anything that they can to undermine, belittle your efforts. And you know what's worse is that they actually take great delight in either seeing you fall or you not achieving your results. And the same goes for the sabotager, where they will do everything in their power to manipulate situations to ensure that you fail. Now, say the pessimists, they can be pains in the neck, okay? But intrinsically, they don't need to be bad people. Critics and sabotagers are very malicious. And I've got one piece of advice. If you do take my advice today and you do a little bit of a social inventory and check out who your eagles and owls are and your turkeys and crows, and if you've got in there a sabotager, my advice personally is sabotagers, there's no place for them in your life. They're toxic and they're like weeds from a garden. You just got to get rid of them. Now, the critic, they're a little more surreptitious. And I hate to say this, but often it's our girlfriends that tend to be critics. I know that sounds really sad, but it's that thing of not wanting your friends to get ahead. When you see your friend is really succeeding, some women, they don't like it. And it's bred out of jealousy and envy. They don't want to see you succeed. And that's why I think we've got to be really careful of the well-meaning critic. And my advice for the critic, if you don't want to get rid of them in your life, is certainly to limit your exposure to them. So something for you to think about, because these kinds of interactions can often set off inappropriate eating, which equals self-sabotage and self-doubt for you. And self-doubt leads to self-dislike, and you go back around in that yo-yo circle again. So I really hope you found this thought-provoking. And of course, if you want to see any more similar YouTube videos, just click on our Body Conquest YouTube channel. Click like, please give us a review. Post us on Figure It Out, pass a comment. I'd love to have your feedback. And because we're really close to Christmas, especially to the Figure It Out girls and the Body Conquest clients, Merry Christmas.